Hello, my name is Blake James, and I'd like to introduce you to the Pictograph charting system. This is a form of electronic charting specifically designed for critical care, where patient information, including injuries, assessments, and treatments, can be collected and displayed to all the members of the treatment team in real time using pictographic display. This allows all members of the treatment team to receive consistent, accurate, and real-time data from one single display. This idea was inspired by one of our trauma surgeons who just returned from Afghanistan at a forward operating base, looking for a method that would better transmit information to all members of the team quickly. They simply grabbed a piece of scratch paper with the outline of a human body on it and would draw arrows depicting injuries and treatments and different modalities. And this is how they transmitted information, and found out that it worked really well. I just took the idea and we decided to make it electronic and update it to modern version. Electronic charting is nothing new. Pretty much every hospital is transitioning to some form of electronic charting. This one is called Epic. It's the one we currently use. It has a huge learning curve. It is very complex. It has multiple files, multiple tabs, and multiple ways of inserting information. It's basically designed for use on the med surgical unit, where speed is not necessarily what you're looking for. It's the access to the information in multiple layers of information. These systems were definitely not designed for the rapid pace of the emergency room, where the condition of the patient is rapidly changing and you have multiple caregivers all needing accurate and quick information at the exact same time in order to care for the patient. With this system we want to develop, we allow all members of the treatment team to receive consistent, accurate, and real-time data from a single display monitor. Here at CRMC we have a very large emergency department. Our trauma bays are split up into 3 different rooms. This is a picture of Trauma 2 right here, the bay. We usually like to keep one gurney in here. And right above this clock where these pictures are, we've transitioned that area into an electronic charting system. You can see here a large big screen TV which is able to display images like our pelvis x-rays, chest x-rays, extremity x-rays, as well as CT scans when we need them. While this is great from a diagnostic standpoint for the patient, it still doesn't give us information related to the patient's current injuries, what assessments have been done, and what treatments have also been done. This is where trauma pictograph charting comes into place. It'll answer those questions and give us quick access to the information. Basically, the pictograph charting system starts with a blank template. At the top of this blank template is the basic information data, the age, the time the call was received, what type of information they have as far as the mechanism, injury, vitals, and treatment. This is all information that we get from the ambulance before the patient arrives. This is basically a pretty simple system. This template is on the computer screen. This screen is then transmitted up to the large screen TV for everyone to see. This is a PowerPoint presentation just to give you a demonstration on how this works, but it's basically just a point and click type system. Wherever the cursor is, you point and click and it brings up a particular menu. In this case, we're going to go ahead and enter information about the patient's age. We hover over age, hit 2, 4, enters the patient's age as 24-year-old. We're going to go ahead and select male. It'll automatically select male, and then the rest of the data will be filled in the exact same manner. Ambulance vital signs that are received pre-hospital before the patient arrives can also be entered in this same fashion right in this particular area, so that we can have an idea of what type of vitals the patient has before they come in. Basically, the main features of this system use a color-coded mapping system. It breaks the body up into particular quadrants. Each quadrant has a unique color assigned to it. Wherever you move the cursor, each segment will light up and bring a drop-down menu. That drop-down menu gives you options. So for example, on the right upper chest, we highlight that area. And in this particular case, based on the information above, we see that we have a 24-year-old male that has a mechanism of a gunshot wound. His injuries are a chest wound times 1. We highlight the area in the right upper chest and it brings up options for us. It says mechanism of injury, assessment, and treatment. We select mechanism of injury. It gives us 4 options: blunt trauma, penetrating trauma, burn, or other. We're selecting penetrating trauma since it's a gunshot wound. It gives us options: gunshot wound, stab wound, wood, metal, glass, or other types of penetrating trauma. We're going to select gunshot wound. It'll automatically flag, based on that data, information that we selected. It'll put a little box with an arrow pointing to the right upper chest that says mechanism of injury is penetrating and it's a gunshot wound. Down on the right hand corner there we have a little toolbox. We can select a tool if we want and put a little dot where we actually visualize the gunshot wound being. The next thing we're going to do is highlight the area just below the chest wound and do an assessment. We highlight the word assessment, it brings up another menu. This menu has the different assessment options, each with a 3-letter acronym representing that assessment. DEF is deformity, CON is contusion, ABR is abrasion, and so forth. At the very bottom, it has an option of sounds. We're going to go ahead and do a sound assessment because we're going to listen and see what type of effect this gunshot wound injury had on the patient's breathing. Under assessment sounds, we have options, clear, diminished, absent. We're going to go ahead and select absent at this point because we don't hear any lung sounds with this particular patient. It then adds another pictograph box that says assessment sounds absent. Now we're going to go ahead and do a treatment for this area. We're going to do a treatment for the patient's breathing. We highlight the area breathing under the drop-down menu. Gives us options of breathing assist, ventilator support. We're going to be doing a chest tube on this patient. We select chest tube. And now it goes ahead and puts a pigtail under the assessments because based on our assessments, we had absent sounds and we treated that with a chest tube. You can also hover over the area and it'll allow you to enter some notes. It'll tell you who did the chest tube, any other notations that you want to put into that particular box. And here's what we have so far for our assessments. We're going to go ahead and add another IV catheter line here. We're going to go to a treatment. We're going to go ahead and select circulation. And we're going to enter an IV, a central line, double lumen. We're going to select that. It's going to go ahead and give us an area there pointing to the areal treatment, circulation, central line, double lumen. We can hover over the area. It'll tell us more information about who inserted it, what doctor did it, and what time it was done. You'll notice at the top of the pictograph is a series of bars that say X-ray, lab, CT, ultrasound, MRI, and meds. These things will be indicators letting us know when these particular items have been ordered and what stage of the process they're in. Orange, for example, will stand for ordered. If it's pink, it means that it's in process, and if it's red, it'll mean that if it's resulted. If more X-rays are ordered, it'll just split the view and give you an idea of what each one says. If you hover over X-ray, it lets you know that a pelvis X-ray has been ordered, but also that the chest X-ray has been resulted. So eventually for this patient, as the process continues, in real time you'll get injuries that are being documented on the big screen as well as assessments and treatments. As you flip the patient over and see the back, you continue with more treatments and assessments as is documented here. And you get good information available on one screen that the entire team can see. And this is vitally important because we have different specialists on different parts of the treatment team trying to access the exact same information, and a system like this allows us all to receive the exact same information instantly in order to tailor the therapy for the patient specifically. So continue on just for demonstration purposes. We're going to go ahead and do IV in the box in the left lower hand corner. We're going to do an infusion of blood products. PRBCs is packed red blood cells, and we're going to infuse 1 unit into the double lumen central line. Once we select that, it'll go ahead and put a pigtail under the central line, and it says PRBCs 1 unit. If you went ahead and ordered another unit of packed red blood cells, it would go ahead and change it to a 2. If you infuse more crystalline IV fluids, it'll put another pigtail there that says IV fluids. One other critical component as far as documentation is concerned is being able to have an area where we have our vital signs, completed infusions, and medications. It's impossible to fit all this onto the one page on the front, so either a tab of some sorts or a button you can press would bring you to this vital signs, IV infusions, and medications page that would have a running documentation of vital signs and meds that we give as they're given. Also on this page in the upper right hand corner is a thumbnail version of what's on the front page, just keeping you up to date on the information that's found there as far as injuries assessment and where things are in the process. Another important aspect and something that I really appreciate about our current electronic charting system is the ability of it to timestamp and map the progress of the patient as far as treatments and assessments are concerned. Be important that this system be able to timestamp and enter in written form along a time continuum exactly what has been done as far as the information and data that's transmitted through it. That's important for billing purposes. It's also important if the patient gets transferred, having a written documentation on what happened. So that's a real basic overview of the Pictograph charting system and the idea behind it and what we want it to accomplish. I think the most difficult task is going to be how this particular system is going to communicate with existing systems. It would be important that they are able to communicate with other systems, because most laboratory results, medications, x-rays, CT scans are all ordered using these electronic charting systems. And there are things out there that communicate across and share data, so it would be important that this could access and share data with these other systems. Thinking ahead, as far as having this available not only on desktop through Microsoft Windows, but also having perhaps an iPad version where the person documenting could have a single iPad and just tap and click each particular area very quickly and share data that way. Also, from a pre-hospital standpoint, thinking of paramedics in the field, having an iPad version of this particular system, being able to document very quickly and efficiently. I use some of those systems they have now, and they are extremely unfriendly, very cumbersome, and very time-consuming. But I'm imagining a paramedic come in with this information on his iPad, walking into the hospital, tapping his iPad to my iPad, and all the information jumps over and then shares immediately with our system. Well, that completes this demonstration. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation, and we look forward to working with many other people in the future and hopefully bring a product similar to this to a hospital emergency room near you.